Okay, think about this for a second. What if every single like, every comment, every share you made online, what if it all built real value? Not for some huge corporation, but for you and the communities you're a part of. Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating Web3 model that's trying to do exactly that. Let's get into it.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the platform itself, the foundation it's all built on. Then, we'll get into how the network actually grows. After that, we'll connect the dots and see how your activity becomes real value. And of course, we'll look at how the reward system works. To wrap it all up, we'll touch on the big idea, the Web3 principle that's making all of this happen.
All right, so first things first. Before we can even get to the rewards, we have to talk about the environment. I mean, you can't just build this kind of system anywhere. The success of this whole thing really hinges on having a totally different kind of platform at its core.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly, right? On one side, you've got the social media we're all used to. It's kind of like a digital jungle, full of algorithm manipulation, ads everywhere you look, and all sorts of noise. But the ecosystem we're talking about today, that's completely different. It's built to be this clean, structured space on the right, a place that's focused on knowledge and real communication, not just grabbing your attention.
So that special space is built on a platform called Tribe. And the best way to think about it is like a private, protected garden for a community. Its whole purpose is to strip away all that noise and distraction. It creates this foundation where people can actually build and share knowledge without constantly being sold to or having their feeds manipulated.
Okay, so we've got the perfect environment. But a garden doesn't grow on its own, right? So how does this network expand? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because the model completely ditches expensive ad campaigns and goes for something way more organic, simple, person-to-person connection.
And this whole idea is powered by what people call the Web3 mindset. You know, in the internet we've been using for years, Web 2, we are basically the product, right? Our attention, our data, it's all being sold. But in this new model, that flips completely. The users become participants, even owners. You actually get to benefit from the value that you're helping to create. It's a huge shift in who's in control.
The way it actually grows is super simple. Every user gets a personal referral link. You share that link with people you genuinely think would be interested, and boom, they're connected to you in the network. The key here is that it's not about just spamming your link everywhere. It's about curating a community, and that builds a network based on real trust, not just random clicks.
All right, so we've got this focused platform and a network that's growing through trusted connections. So the big question is, how does just participating, liking and commenting, turn into actual measurable value? Let's look at that.
And this is probably the biggest difference of all. On a traditional platform, all the value you create flows up into one big bucket at the top, for the company. But in this Web3 model, the value circulates inside the community. Your engagement itself generates rewards, and those rewards go right back to the people who are making the community great. So how do they measure all this engagement? They use a concept that I'm sure most of you know from video games, XP, or experience points. It's pretty straightforward. Every positive interaction you have adds to your personal XP score. And the cool part is, you don't have to do anything crazy to earn this XP. It's awarded for all the simple things that make a community healthy. Liking a helpful post, adding a good comment, joining a discussion. It's basically a system that rewards you for being a good digital citizen.
Now, here's the magic number you need to remember, 40 XP. You can think of it like a key. When anyone in the network reaches that milestone of 40 XP, it unlocks a small monetary reward. And that reward gets paid out to the people who helped bring that active person into the community in the first place.
Okay, I know that can sound a little abstract, so let's walk through a super practical, step-by-step example. This will make it crystal clear how one person's activity turns into another person's reward. All right, so let's imagine you've got a brother, you share your referral link with him, he signs up, and he actually likes the place. He starts getting active, he's liking things, he's commenting, and eventually he hits that 40 XP milestone.
So, what happens next? Well, the moment your brother hits 40 XP, you get a €1 reward. Why? Because you brought him in. Simple as that. But here's where it gets really powerful. Let's say your brother then invites one of his friends, and that friend also gets active and hits 40 XP. Your brother gets the €1 reward for that direct referral. But you, even though you're 2 steps removed, you get a 40-cent reward. The system actually recognizes your contribution to that growth, even down the line.
And get this reward structure doesn't just stop at 1 or 2 levels.
It's actually designed to recognize contributions up to 11 levels deep in the network. It's all about rewarding that entire chain of trust and recommendation that helps a community grow.
So now that we've seen all the nuts and bolts of how it works, what's the big idea here? What's the philosophy behind all of this? Because it's really about way more than just earning a few euros here and there.
And this quote from the source material just nails it. It says the key point isn't the individual reward itself. The key point is the principle of this new Web3 generation. The money is really just proof that the principle works.
So what is that principle? It's that all of those positive things you do to build a community, being active, sharing what you know, supporting other people's content, all of that suddenly becomes economically visible. It's like for the first time ever, that social capital we all build is being given a real, tangible value.
When you put it all together, what this system really creates is a whole new way for people to collaborate online. It makes a direct link between building a community and creating value. And it does it all without annoying ads and without you having to put in a single cent of your own money. In this model, your participation, that's the investment.
And that really just leaves us with one final big question to think about. We live in a world where pretty much everything we do online is being monetized by someone else. So what if that changed? What if your engagement could actually build real, shared value for you and for the communities you care about?